Hi, I'm George and welcome to the last stop on our tour of the Marlborough wine region. A little later on I'll be catching up with Kevin and Samantha at Toi Toi Wines, but right now I'm at the wine station where they've just turned 2 years old, waiting for the Marlborough Flyer. All aboard for this episode of the Cellar Door, New Zealand. If you enjoy a bit of good old-fashioned train spotting, then the Blenheim Railway Station is just the ticket. It's also an award-winning wine venue, serving some of the region's best wines. Thanks to some very fancy Italian dispensers, visitors to the wine station are able to sample 80 premium wines from the region and hop on an old puffing billy. Today is my last day in beautiful Marlborough, and what better way to finish than with a visit to family-owned Toi Toi Wines. First up, I'm meeting Kevin, the owner of Toi Toi. Hello, Kevin.
Hello.
So you are the owner of Toi Toi Wines.
Yes, myself and my family.
Yes. But you've sort of started out kind of as an investment, and now it's your whole life.
We started in 2006, so we've been 14 years now in the industry. But it all started out really with this particular vineyard here, really, which is our Brookdale vineyard.
And this is Sauvignon Blanc, is it?
This side is Sauvignon Blanc, and down the middle through there is our Pinot Gris. We've got 2 blocks of Pinot Gris, so we do our Sauvignon Blanc and our Pinot Gris off this block. Mm-hmm. This is our sort of jewel in the crown, if you like. This is our signature vineyard. You know, I'm an accountant by trade, so I sort of came down to Melbourne, and I used to do a lot of work walking in the hills and the Marlborough Sounds and what have you, and there was nothing in Marlborough apart from a lot of dust flying down the valley. You know, it was very, very dry.
No vines.
And then in the early 2000s, I came back here, and all of a sudden there's these nice green, you know, straight rows of vines, and everything was looking prosperous. And I ended up buying some land and as an investment, you know, Queen Street Farmer, as they call them.
So did you have much of an interest in wine personally at that time?
No, I didn't know anything about it really at all. But I did some research on the industry and realised it was growing, and it was, you know, Marlborough Sauvignon Blanc was becoming one of the best Sauvignon Blanc producing areas in the world. Mm-hmm. And so we went for it, and we invested in it. And then while we were developing the vineyard, I got approached by one of my friends who said, "Well, you're in the industry, the wine industry, aren't you?" And I said, "Well, no, I bought a bit of bare land." You know?
Yeah.
And anyway, he said, "Look, I've got somebody that wants to you know, have a contract to help them out, a winery down here in Melbourne." So, you know, accounting is pretty boring at times, and this became a really nice, passionate existence. And then all of a sudden, I got to understand the industry, got to love the industry, mm-hmm. and really sort of got bitten by the bug, really. Mm-hmm. And then all of a sudden, our vineyard here started to grow some grapes, and we created our brand.
That brand is Toi Toi, named after New Zealand's largest native flowering grass and symbolic of their commitment to New Zealand's local environment. So Tim, hello.
Hi Georgie, how are you?
I am great.
Awesome.
We're amongst the vines here at Toi Toi, where you are the winemaker, but you're also quite involved in
all these vines are, I guess you could say, my babies.
These are your babies?
You know, well, you know, we nurture them.
Yes.
To try and create the flavours that we need for me to then work with when they get into the winery. Mm. So currently we're in Pinot Gris, also known as Pinot Grigio. So it's the same variety.
Different treatment.
Yeah, different treatment. So we're looking for a healthy canopy, green, tall. You'll notice that we grow our canopies quite high.
Yeah.
It's
Why is that?
a combination of reasons. A, we need those leaves to ripen the crop that we have. But we also, we grow them tall because the rows are of this width, so it's a height to width ratio.
So that they can get the sun?
Yeah, so you don't create excessive shading, but you also, with that, you want to have enough canopy there that you can actually get your fruit right on. So most of the vineyards in this area are orientated north to south, but on 1 o'clock because of daylight saving, so that moves the high point of the sun to 1. So yeah, but we call them north to south. This one that's just going through veraison. So these are just starting to change colour. Just if you come back here, you can see.
Oh, so they'll ripen to a red grape.
Yeah, a pinkish red colour. So these are just starting to turn colour or go through what we call veraison. Yeah, so they'll still be pretty sour. I'm not recommending getting in there yet. I'm out here every week, at least once a week, just walking through, looking. I'll sample them once a week, just to see the progression of sugars, acid coming down, and getting into that spectrum of ripeness, but also flavour. So essentially, once we get close to the harvest process, the numbers don't mean a lot. It's all about taste. It's about getting the fruit to the right taste. So I tend to pick this in 2 parcels.
Okay.
So one a little less ripe, one a bit more ripe for that lushness and the weight, less ripe for the focus and the acidity.
So that you can use those
and then you blend. So you can put those components together. You can create something more than what came in. And I guess, capturing these flavours.
It's like a painting.
Yeah, it is. It is like a painting. It's putting bits together and mixing it up and trying to make it show it off.
Well, I strolled through the vines and now to taste the wines. Tim, we are going to taste some of the fruits of your labours.
Well, yes, we are. Yeah, so I thought that we'd start tasting the Pinot Gris.
So you go through a blending process.
Yes, I do. So not all the juice ends up in the same tank. So for this Pinot Gris, we have 4 different tanks, so different fermentations. I use different yeasts in each one, and they create slightly different flavour profiles and textures. And then we go through a process of matching them together. So it's a balance of fruit flavour, texture, but also get the acids right, the acid balance, just so the wine works. Trying to make something that really shows off those beautiful flavours that we're getting or growing out in the vineyards. So,
The bouquet of this is quite floral, it kind of comes right out.
yeah, it does, it leaps out, and that's part of what we're trying to do.
This has got the faintest blush to it.
Yeah, it's Pinot Gris, and although we were in the vineyard in early season, we did see some of the berries just starting to go through veraison, and Pinot Gris is a variety that has pigmentation, or pink skins. So whilst we try to press it off straight away and not pick up too much of that colour, some does come through. And you can just see a wee faint hint in there.
It's beautiful nose.
Yeah, lovely stone fruit. It's ripe and lush. It's something that you smell it and you go, oh, yes, I just want to try it, So
I do just want to try it.
Well, here we go. Yeah, so those flavours follow through into the palate, but you also get that richness, that fatness in the middle, and that's from those textural yeasts. So just and a bit of time left on lees, so we stir it, that allows it to fatten. And
yeah, it is for a Pinot Gris. It's got quite a big, fat kind of oily.
Yeah, oil is perfect. I mean, that's something we talk about in Pinot Gris, and it's one of the hallmarks or characteristics of a good Pinot Gris is that oily texture. I call myself a winemaker, but the yeasts are the winemakers, and I'm just nurturing them.
Winemakers never want to take credit for these beautiful wines they make. It's the grapes, it's the yeast.
Sort of just started off with me, and Sarah's now my wife's become quite passionate about it as well. And then our daughter-in-law, my eldest son, married an American from Michigan, Samantha, and she became quite passionate about the wine industry as well, and has joined us in the business, and so we have the sort of next generation to take over, and hopefully we can create a bit of a legacy.
Yeah, lovely.
It's nice. You know, it was an investment, but it's now become a bit of a lifestyle, and something that we would like to pass on to the kids, and hopefully they'll get that same passion that we've got.
Hey Sam.
Hey.
So you are the sales and marketing manager at Toi Toi.
I am.
And you're also part of the family.
I am.
Yeah. How long have you been the sales and marketing manager?
So I've been working with Toi Toi for 2 years now, but I actually married into the family. So I'm married to Kevin's eldest son, Adam. I've definitely always been interested in wine, and I've always enjoyed a glass of wine. But after having met sort of Kevin and Sarah and understanding more of the business, that's really where my interest and passion for wine came from. So, we've always really been focused on finding the best varietals that grow in the best regions, and quality has always sort of underpinned everything that we've done, and that's what I really love, because there's a lot of great wine to choose from in New Zealand, and there's a lot of people making wine as well, but I think if you lose that focus on really understanding the quality, yeah, that's sort of, to me, what stands out. So we pick varietals from where we think the best regions produce those. So, for example, we've got a Merlot that comes out of Hawke's Bay. We do our Chardonnay from Gisborne. Our Sauvignon Blanc comes out of Marlborough. Pinot Noir comes out of Central Otago. So we really try and find where we think is going to produce that best grape varietal, and then make our grapes on that, make our wine on that.
And we're holding quite a special one. It's Sarah's Rosé.
Yeah. So Sarah's one of the founders of Toi Toi, and we didn't really produce a rosé, but obviously saw that as a varietal that was really gaining some momentum and popularity. And so when we were sitting down thinking about what type of rosé we wanted to produce and what sort of style we wanted to produce it in, Sarah, in her early 20s, enjoyed rosé, and so she tasked Tim, our winemaker, with creating a Provence-style rosé that really brought her back to that time. And so this is what came out of that, and it's actually been a really highly awarded wine for us as well. So it got a double gold Best in Show in the first year that we produced it, and so we've been really pleased with sort of the results of that wine, and it's been our fastest growing varietal of wine.
But it's also like a different style of rosé, I think, with the Pinot Gris element.
Yeah, so it's been blended as a Pinot Rosé, which means that it's got a Pinot Gris and a Pinot Noir base. So the Pinot Noir is really just what gives it that little bit of blush color. But it sits more on the dry style of wine. So I think a lot of people, when they drink rosé, they sort of think they're going to get this real strawberry, kind of fruit-forward, sweet wine. That's what people have started to sort of believe rosé tastes like. And we wanted to produce something that really could showcase a different style. It is a different taste. It looks different in the bottle because it's so pale in color.
And I believe it's one of your favorites too.
Oh, it's my favorite by far.
Excellent.
These are the hills. We're sort of looking south down here, so that's going down, and over there quite often these hills will have a lot of snow on them in the winter.
Oh wow!
And over the back, and then when you go out this way, you're looking north to the Richmond Ranges, and you quite often get a lot of rain on the background there, and it won't rain down here. So the Wairau Valley is very narrow and hills on both sides, and so it's got a really unique environment. There's a lot of sunshine. It's got all the river salts and things that it has down here, and that gives it a lot of good drainage and a lot of good fertility for the grapes to grow. And I love the sunshine, of course.
It was a good investment spot.
And it has those cool nights and warm days, and that gives you that extended growing season. That gives you the nice flavours and the acidity and natural acidity in the grapes. Just all of those things come together to produce something world-class wine.
Yeah, delicious wines.
Yeah.
So our lifestyle range is great quality. We believe we overproduce the quality for the price point that we sell it at. Our reserve range is where we sort of go, okay, how do we make the best of the best out of this? And so typically they're single vineyard. Our reserve Sauvignon Blanc is by far one of our more highly awarded wines. So it actually won the Perpetual Trophy at the Sydney International Food and Wine Show. And what we loved about that is that that's a wine show that focuses on pairing wine with food. So it's not just a stand-up wine that tastes great from the judges, but it's what actually can complement a meal really well.
So your reserve Sauv Blanc.
Yes, yeah, Reserve Sauvignon Blanc. Now this is sort of the best of the best that we can do from our vineyards in Marlborough. It's our flagship Sauvignon Blanc. And when we talk about blending in the Pinot Gris, where I had 4 tanks, Sauvignon Blanc, we had 27 tanks of Sauvignon Blanc. Wow. So again, all different yeast fermentation profiles. We play around with percentages, you know, so you go, oh, I think that's the core. So that's really the essence of what we do. And then we build around that with all the other tanks. So this is the 2018 Reserve. And
got some lovely shiny
yes,
medals.
Yeah, it's got a bit of, as we call it, bling on there. But no, this picked up the Perpetual Trophy at the Sydney Wine and Food Festival.
Is that, I mean, I know you guys have won other awards, but I know food and wine and pairing is such an important thing for you and for Kevin. Is this award like one of the most special ones for you?
When it goes with food, it just works. So this was paired with a risotto dish, and well, I've cooked it at home, put them together, and it's bang on. And the recipe's there, so you can go and do it yourself at home.
Do a little match of your own.
Have a match.
Oh,
and
brilliant.
See if they got it right.
Yeah.
So I reckon we have a taste of this. Sorry, I didn't bring a risotto.
I know, and here's a risotto I prepared earlier. So what sort of notes are we looking for in this one?
Well, we're looking, it's classic Marlborough Sauvignon Blanc, but it's got a little bit more weight and texture than you would probably find in just our standard Sauvignon Blanc. There's a term we use around here called ripe green. I don't know if you're familiar with that, but it means green flavours but in the ripe spectrum. So green gauge plums, capsicums.
Like that kind of herbaceous?
Yes, yeah, herbaceous but not hard green. So you're looking for acids that are soft but still impart a sort of green note to it. You still want a bit of green, crisp green flavour there, but you also want that balance with a few tropical hints.
And a bit of passion fruit.
Yes, yeah, passion fruit, stone fruit, ripe stone fruit, etc. So it's really, it is just a kind of layer cake of putting bits and pieces together and finding, the one that works.
Ripe green, I love it. It's got more upfront acid than the Pinot Gris.
Yes, yeah, I mean, Sauvignon Blanc is a higher acid variety, and it needs that acid. It needs that fine line of acid and minerality, just to draw it out and keep it going. So you get all those lovely big flavours, and then you get that nice long finish.
Yeah.
Despite the common misbelief, Sauvignon Blanc ages, and ages beautifully. So, not your bog standard $10 supermarket special Sauvignon, but if you buy good quality, well-made Sauvignon Blanc, it will age, and it will age really well. Which is something else that I think we, as New Zealand winemakers, need to explain to people.
So when you came on board with Toi Toi, you instigated a few changes with branding and what have you. Tell us a bit about that.
We looked at everything we were doing across the production side of the business. So we looked at bottles, caps, color. So we really took kind of a big overhaul. And we spent 12 months sort of deciding not just what we thought was going to look best, but we did quite a lot of consumer research as well. And ultimately that got us to the label and the bottles that we're in at the moment. So that was it was a really fun project.
And I guess a good way for you to connect with that customer base as well.
Absolutely, yeah. It gave me a really good understanding of our demographic and the types of wines they were looking for, because one of the core values we have as a family is innovation. So we're always trying to find new products, new styles that are going to connect connect with our audience. That's right. And so that we were able to find that one of the things that came out of that was people wanting lower calorie, lower alcohol, lower sugar. And that got us to do a Sauvignon Blanc in a can. So it was an aluminum recyclable can, but it was 25% lower calorie and sugar as well.
And that's part of the lifestyle?
And that's part of our lifestyle range, yeah. And then one of the other areas that we've really focused on, particularly in the last couple of years, trying to find ways to make our vineyard more sustainable. And so Toi Toi itself is a native grass. And so we really look to be inspired by what's around us, and New Zealand is so beautiful.
Well, yeah, you're quite actively involved in supporting the wildlife of New Zealand.
Yep, so we have a partnership with Forest and Bird, who's a conservation group here that looks after a few of the tenets of New Zealand. So they look after animal welfare, they look after the land, and they look after the water. Those are sort of the pillars of their brand. And we've partnered with them because, again, it fits with the family. Kevin has a real strong passion for the New Zealand native birds, as many Kiwis do. And so we went to them and said, hey, look, we want to be able to do more supporting your cause. Throughout the year, we go through a period of time where a portion of every bottle sold from Toi Toi goes back to supporting a specific cause in New Zealand. So more recently, there was a orange-fronted parakeet, or the kakariki. And so we put a campaign together in conjunction with Forest and Bird to really highlight this bird, because people see a lot of parakeets around New Zealand, but this particular one was quite endangered. And so we ran a campaign, and we had such a good response from that. We had over 10,000 bottles sold.
Sam, thank you so much for a lovely chat and for this delicious wine.
Yeah, thank you.
Cheers.
I've had such a great day at Toi Toi and learnt so much about the Marlborough region. And what better way to finish up than by tasting both their lifestyle and reserve Pinot Noir.
So we've got two different kinds of Pinot here.
Yes, so both central Pinots. So we have our lifestyle Pinot, which is sort of your everyday drinking Pinot Noir. So yeah, nice, fruit forward, really soft and approachable. Will age beautifully too. So as I say, these come up from our central Otago vineyards. It's fresh, it's fruity, there's lots of fruit, it's up front. I mean, a portion of this is spent time in oak, the balance spends time in stainless steel tanks, and that retains that freshness, that vibrancy.
And then it's balanced by that kind of oak structure.
Yes, yeah, and then you get that oaky, that
got my mouth
nice
watering.
caramelly oak. So, yeah, cheers.
I've got to learn how to do that.
Well, we slurp.
Yeah, the slurp.
Yeah. But very typical fruit flavours of Central Otago, red cherries, dark cherries, a little bit of bramble, blackberry, etc. Yeah, so this is single vineyard, and this, both Jeff and I go through and say, okay, we like those vines, and we'll pick out 4 or 5 rows and
that's it.
And manage it differently. So we crop this lower. This is all hand-picked, as opposed to we use machine harvesting for that. Just like the Reserve Sauvignon, the Reserve Pinot Noir is the best of the best. It's showcasing what we can do from our fruit sources down there.
Yeah, from that one spot.
Yeah, so that one vineyard. This is our 2018 Reserve.
And so how long would
Pinot
this
Noir.
have spent in oak?
This spends 9 to 10 months.
Okay.
Yeah. So this is a wine that's made to age. Same sort of flavours, but just on a different spectrum.
It's like a deep kind of.
Yeah, it's deeper, it's denser. Cheers.
Smells so good.
Yeah.
It's so smooth.
But a little brighter acid too, because it's built to age. Whereas this one is, it's an unfortunate thing that most wines, as we know, are drunk within 24 hours of being purchased. So, whereas this one, the intention is to make something that's serious, make something that really stands up and stands out. So that's what we strive for.
Tim,
And as a
thank you
winemaker.
so much. Thank you for sharing these delicious wines.
Hey, look, that's not a problem.
I think
love
you
it.
deserve a pat on the back,
Oh,
really.
thank you. Cheers.
Well, my time in Marlborough is drawing to a close, but there's still so much left of my tour of New Zealand. Don't forget, if you've missed any episodes and you'd like to catch up, you can find us online on our YouTube channel. And I will see you for the next episode of the Cellar Door New Zealand.